Welcome everyone to the Ballroom Cultural Sharing Session. This is the founding mother when Chanel says Savage, founding mother of King House of Says Savage. I'm going to be the host of the panel discussion tonight. And it's an honor. Oh, thank you. It's an honor to have icon, father, Dashaun, JUJU Couture, all the way from the U.S. JUJU, Mulan, all the way from South Korea. And last but not least, Chise and Telfar, all the way from Japan. To share the insights, knowledge, and experiences in ballroom. So we're really, really grateful to have three of you here today. Maybe let me pass the mic to all of you to just introduce yourselves, all of us. Can we have the mic to Icon?
Hello, I'm founder of the House of JUJU Couture. My geeky categories are runway, and I commentate here. Happy to be here.
Hello, my name is JUJU Mulan. My category is realness, control, performance, and bass.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
I'm Chise Telfar, and then in the geeky scene, I'm mostly trying to figure out what's the next category for me. Maybe all the way or long way, something like that. But let's see. I don't know yet.
So if we have time left after the panel discussion, we're gonna open the floor for questions as well. Okay, it will be approximately for like 1.5 hours for the whole event today. Okay. So if you're ready, let's start now. Okay. First of all, can I ask Icon Dashaun? It's an honor to have you all the way from the origin of Ballroom. And since we have a lot of new people, like people learning about the culture, would you mind sharing your knowledge and insights about ballroom history and culture to all of us here?
I can say I've been a part of this community since, oh my gosh. This is now my 25th year.
Oh, happy 25th.
I know. But I've seen it go from quiet or underground to where it is today, where it's so public, and we can go now. Now we can go to almost every country and experience ballroom. But I think what matters the most is that we learned the connection of how it is, because it was so underground to Afro-Latino culture folks. And now we're able to expand and communicate with other ways and other people. So I'm excited about where ballroom is going and where it continues to go and where it is today, because I'm able to be here right now to communicate, talk to everyone here, and learn, even more of how we can expand as a ballroom culture. So from the beginning, I see this, everything takes a roller coaster.
Yeah.
So right now, ballroom is kind of up here doing one of these. But it's gonna have its roller coaster moment. So yes, it's fun, but it's also stuff that we have to do to make sure we continue to have a good, safe function, whether kiki or mainstream.
Thank you, Dashaun. Julia, anything?
I can keep on going.
I would like to ask all of you, how did you start your ballroom journey and what keeps you going in ballroom?
Back to 2017, it was my first experience watching vogue clips from YouTube. It was Street Star.
I know! Yes! That was
At the time in Korea, there was no a voguing teacher.
Yeah.
So I don't have any person to ask, but they have a tutorial in YouTube. So I searched a lot, and also I can copy Ms. Right. They had a lot of tutorial in YouTube. So that's the first experience I entered to the ballroom journey, and yeah, that's how I started.
Yeah. And how did you keep on going until today and then?
Yeah. So I tried to learn voguing. So there was no teacher in Korea, so I went to Japan, and I met Kobe Mizrahi and also Chise to learn voguing. And a few people in Korea tried to learn voguing from New York, so we gathered together in Korea and tried to make our first ball in 2017. So it was the first ball in Korea. And after that, I traveled around the world and came up to my things. Yeah.
And then now you do full bend, do the arms control, everything.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Yeah, step by step.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Juju.
So I studied voguing. I just found the House of Ninja was broke down usually because I used to walking. I used to do the walking, and then the other clip show up. So like just clip, and that was the voguing. But I didn't know anything. So 2012. No, 2010 actually found it, but like it's already mixing up walking and voguing, so it was not that thing. So like 2011, I started. Oh, maybe this is a walking, this is a voguing, not separate. So thinking and I go to New York to learn from Benny Ninja first. I learned the voguing with first, and then Archie Barnett and then Happy Ninja at the time. Happy was private. Benny was at the Paradise studio I took. Are you was teaching at the time?
I was, but you said the
No, I can't wait. I'm sorry. I take a class for everything. It was really hard in his class. But I tried to learn from him a lot. And then I decided I want to go to New York to learn for just for the ballroom. So I be there 2 years. So then I started to make a connection with them. But when I go to the ballroom night, I got the really shade from the old people, but he saved my life. Only you come to because he was on the mic and I didn't know how to talk, no English. But like when he was like by the alcohol, he said, "What's your name?" I was like, Chise. He said, okay. And then next time he really called my name, like exactly, okay, Chise needs to come out. I was like, only one New York people calling my name exactly Chise. So you are the first. And yes, so after that he really working on like street star, also like dance, like how can I say, freestyle underground, like he was everywhere. So I just followed him. He go everywhere. This time it was like 5 points. The spot they were doing the battle. You know.
Which one in Sweden?
No, in New York. You don't know?
I forgot what the name of the dance competition. I know what you're talking about.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So I just try to do what Javier did, or like Leon did, Dashaun did, Daniel did. I just follow what they did in New York. So I found the more ballroom, and I found more kiki scene that I go into. So it's
Okay, I'm gonna keep it real small. So I started back in like '97. I know, right? You're learning something new. Don't tell nobody she said. But my first experience of it, again, because I'm from the Mecca where the core of where ballroom is, and it's been going on prior before me joining. So in New York City, you have an opportunity to go. Chise knows when you go to Christopher Street in the West Village, this is a place where anybody of any color, any shape, any gender, any size, and everything could go to this area and you could just be yourself. That was a place for me to be myself when I was 14, and I seen, this one DJ with I'm a little bit old guy, so he had a big boombox, and he was playing tapes, and he was playing voguing music, and I didn't know what it was, and he had a crowd of people following him, and I was young, 14, and I started following too. And they stopped at the end of what we call the pier, or Christmas Street Pier, and they created this circle, and everybody just started voguing. And I was there like, ooh. And every day, so I would go to school, I would finish school, then go to an after-school program, which we got in New York City called HMI or GMAC, and these were the drop-in centers where we can go to practice. So I used to go every day and practice and practice and practice. And from then, at the same time, I have this voice. So I was young with a voice, and they're like,
This boy! All the time. All the time.
so at first, my passion is dance in general. So before me voguing, I was doing hip hop and modern. But when I learned voguing, I forgot everything else. But then at the same time, some people were like, "You have a great voice." So I was watching the commentators, and I was like, "Okay, so they're going cat, and yeah." And so I just learned and took the time and went every day and surrounded myself around the same folks, and I just kind of grew into the space and had the opportunity to, back then, to learn, because it was underground, it wasn't public. And now, for myself, and to why I have the opportunity to even travel today and meet so many amazing people, because I see where Ballroom is growing, and we have to make sure that we communicate and connect in ways. So I love the fact that I'm here right now because, by the way, my only category was voguing. I only vogued and grabbed the microphone. I didn't do no other categories. That's because Ballroom was so strategic, and it was so, we know mainstream is really tough, and Kiki, you can have a good time. But before there was a Kiki, there was a mainstream, so you always had to be serious about what you do. But now we have a space where we can practice or we can bring our friends together and we can have a good time. And I'm just glad to where it's going and where it's still going. So I've seen Ballroom go through a big change. And I'm sure there's others who've seen it as a bigger change than what I've seen. But right now, I'm excited to where it is today. And I can represent my own mainstream house and still represent my Kiki house, Juicy Couture, which I myself and Courtney Balenciaga, we came together and decided to create it with a few others. And, I still support it from afar and everything, and I still be around. I support my Juicies no matter where I go. So it's just, I'm just, again, glad to where Ballroom is now.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. Really good that Okay, next question. I would love to ask JUJU and Chise. How do you navigate into Western scenes after learning from the Asian scenes? And what would you recommend of us to do when we first visit the US or like European ballroom scenes? Yeah.
Every time when I am in ballroom journey, I feel like I have to not stop learning. Keep learning and know what ballroom is, because learning you can't stop, and you can appreciate the culture and celebrate culture, but you have to, your attitude and mindset have to be always learning and be humble.
Thank you, JUJU. How about you,
Same as JUJU. Like, just keep continue, because I learned ballroom from New York people, and then New York people really don't travel to any other country. No, this is the truth.
You're right.
I'm trying to understand, yes, so that's the whole thing. I'm like, everybody have to go to New York, look up them, or try to make a bridge I try to be a bridge and I try to learn for the Asian people. So I try to go everywhere, try to do walk, teaching something in Europe. That was good for the Asian people, I thought. So I just keep continuing to do.
Thank you. Thanks for the work, Chise. And how about Dashaun? Do you have any recommendations to us as well?
I'm not sure because I'll say this, it doesn't exist like how it used to before to where you have to be scared. You do not have to be scared to go to, let's just say, American ballroom or whatsoever. It's, if you're gonna do it, make sure you know what you're doing. Because, again, in America, like you said, they don't travel as much and you get, I'm sure some of you have met, a handful of folks who travel to make sure you have this experience, but I can also tell you, like, if you go out there and just surround yourself around the folks, I know it can be scary, but it's really fun depending on who you know and who you meet. Yes, you're gonna run into some situations because that's just what it is, but at the same time, it's still educational. So if you have an opportunity, or if the opportunity presents to go and experience ballroom in American stage, just don't be afraid and just make sure that you see what's going on. And like JUJU said, like you're always in a space of learning, because at the same time, again, right now, years ago, like I said, I was only voguing, but now I do runway, and now I'm about to start doing other categories too. I walk best dressed and everything, so don't be afraid if you go into this space of America and learn something new, that you can just jump on, or surround yourself around the folks who's gonna take your education and bring it up there with ballroom. So, and also, like Chise said, is bridging the gap, because what happens is, we have our way of doing it. So when we come here, we can't say, you can do a specific category that doesn't make sense for what happens out here. But even I was talking to Chise a while back about, like, there's certain categories that you can create because of the culture that you have here in your home. So how do you get creative and do that with specific categories with that culture? So when you come there and you learn, soak it all in, but when you go back home, you can figure out ways how it can work for you personally, so it can work for everyone as a whole.
I think Dashaun just kind of mentioned something regarding the next question as well.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm gonna ask you, how do we safely and respectfully bridge the gap between holding true to the ballroom origin and bringing the culture, back into other countries with totally different social, cultural, or political context?
I think, I'm not sure if you remember this conversation, Chise, that we had, so in America, we got categories like realness, right? And I was talking about, traditionally when I was in Japan, they have this culture for, the rough boys with the tattoos, what they call it? Yes, it's Yakuza, right? That's it? Okay, I don't know if they have it, but again, maybe they have their own culture of what it is to be realness. Maybe it's like a bad boy realness, maybe it's a mafia realness, but these are the type of things that you can create by going back to figure out how to make it work for your space. And again, because like I said, you can have thug realness here, but what does a thug realness look like? Maybe you have a specific culture that it connects to. So one thing I always try to say, even when I travel, I can tell you what I've learned or what we do back at home, but then I have to also open up my mind so I can make sure I connect to everyone the same way, because our upbringings is much different. I was raised in New York City, crazy. Some people were born here in Hong Kong, some people from other places and cultures, but one thing I do love is that we know how to speak the same language without talking. If it's a feeling that you know, then you can create under that. And I said that to say, because even in America, we still create categories, still to this day. So even to, okay, sorry to be so long-winded, I'll also say, I've been to Hong Kong, this is my third time. I've been in 2011, 2013. The first time I came, I know. When I came to Hong Kong in 2011, I know it was more so about the culture was the whacking. And I was one of the people that was helping separating the conversation when it comes to whacking is whacking and voguing is voguing. And the person who I came out here to help out, and she had the whacking ain't whack competitions that was going on out here years ago. Carmen, yes. So, but it's those moments to where I'm excited so now there's a ball happening out in Hong Kong. Because I know sometimes back then you had to go to dance competitions to experience it, and we are bigger and different from dance competitions. So it's all about finding a culture that you all have to get creative so we can all have a good time. And you can have it here at home.
Oh, thank you.
No problem.
So good. How about JUJU or Chise? Do you want to share anything about like how do you bring the culture from the origin and then also incorporate that into like your own culture? Yeah.
In Korea, we have art high schools and art middle schools, and there is voguing teacher. Like I used to teach at art high school. Yeah, teaching arms control, folk dance, and other categories. So, especially in Korea, we have a lot of teenagers in the scene. So, even is KT scene is for new generation and young people, but we want to make more safe place for them. So we make teenager performance. The category is teenager performance. So. It's okay. So I feel excited. So I think you can make your own country category, but don't forget the history and the original.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Everything. Okay. Oh, thank you. One thing. Yeah.
We also sang, Japanese ballroom scene is now suffering for the realness category because no Asian. Japanese people not gonna be fit for the realness category. What you guys do in the New York City, like America, it doesn't fit for the Japanese people. So that's why I'm still talking with the realness people in Japan. I think we want to make realness category for you, yes, but like make sure that's like Asian gonna be a fit realness. That's I want to make for the new generation people because now on not fitting like 70s,
you're right.
it's hard. Yes, but I talked with you last year,
we
right?
talk about it.
So that's why we moved on, and then like we thinking Asian realness or something like Japan realness. So when they came to Japan, like you guys try to come to Japan, then Japan rule gonna be for the realness category, but the real category, the realness.
The realness, like
Just-
boy and all
Yes,
that.
the other things is make sure that we're gonna continue to do, yes. And then we're gonna try to call like Asian realness. So I'm gonna try to do more connection with the all the other Asian countries, and we wanna talk. I want to talk for new generation, not for us.
No, that's
It's hard.
yeah, it's hard, but that's actually strong.
But
Because
they
again,
also suffering.
well,
Some
you
people
know,
wanna walk, but they can't. They
I'm
feel
glad-
they can't.
yeah, they feel like they can, and you know, if you feel it that you can, you should, and that's what we always in Cure for ballroom in general. Like if you come to me and say you want to do it now, we like to judge a book by its cover. So if you look like a runway girl, we're like girl walk runway. But if you feel like a voguer, then be a voguer, you know. But that makes so much sense as far as the realness aspect, because if let's just say you do come up with like an Asian realness, I'm sure Japan is different from Hong Kong, is different from Korea, that's different from all different areas. So maybe it can, it'll have its understandings that when we say Asian realness, then we know that Japan has it this way, and Hong Kong has it this way, the Philippines have it this way. Everybody have their own kind of rundown, but we know that it's your creation of how you do it.
Yeah. I think like leaders and organizers really need to think really thoroughly, like when we organize a ball, like what is like really fitting, like our own culture, our space and our community. So yeah, thank you for sharing about this. Okay, next question to JUJU. So how do you feel about the current number of femme queens in the Asian scenes? have any thoughts about the current number of fat queens in Asian scenes? Yeah.
Like as you all know, is there's so few. Like even though they have income categories, some categories are closed or just one or two every single bowl. So yeah, it's sad, but there's so few. Yeah.
I think in Hong Kong we're also experiencing the same thing, that we have very few femme queens in the scene. So what would you advise us to do to outreach to more transgender people and make sure that they can feel safe and supported in ballroom, or like kind of like bridging the gap, between ballroom and the bigger queer community, let's say?
The most important thing is they need to feel safe. Yeah, because in Asia, what I know is mostly Asia country voting came first, like, and the culture came second.
Yeah.
Like as always, dance first and the culture second. So also in Korea with it. So and also me when I was trying to transition myself, like there's no one I can ask. So now these days, like I'm trying to be myself, like who I can give. So first of all, the people in the ballroom scene have to make them like it's a really safe place and you can get supported.
What do you think that we can do more about like making it feeling safe and like I feel like probably maybe transgender people may feel safe to reach out to like a transgender leader, but like how about like also leaders of other genders, or like just a community as a whole, like how can we do more for that?
Actually, that's one of my questions for myself these days too. So what I did my best is in Korea ballroom scene, we make fan queens free entrance as this ball, and that's one of my questions.
Maybe how about I don't you say anything want to share about this? Yeah.
In Japan, when you consider in Japan, without of the ballroom scene, we have already safe space for femme queens, for trans women. So it's really hard to bring them into the ballroom. It's really hard for them because they already making money out of the ballroom, and then they are feeling safe out there. And then it's hard that come to the ballroom, but like for them, no, we already have a space. So in Japan now on, it's hard. No shit, here we are safe. So it's not the same.
I guess because there's some good points. We're in a different time and space now, and I know some things are still rough and tough, and people go through some experiences, including heavily now trans women. But some creative ways that I think that can happen, which you mentioned earlier, is like making the entry free. But you also, one thing I can give for recommendation is you create a category, or you open up a category, and if you have a ball and you're throwing a ball, create a category for trans girls. And what you would do is go out there and tell the girls like, hey girl, I think you can walk this category. Or you have a friend that you know is trans. Or there's a place where you know that trans hang out. And let's go even outside of just trans. I know sometimes we have drags queens as well too. And you can create categories for those who are performing. Maybe you have a lip sync battle. I'm not sure if they have like gay clubs out here where you see the people performing, but you go to them like, girl, you win $500, we got a category for you. But you will go and tell everyone so they can feel the inclusion somehow, because sometimes people don't know. But then Chise also mentioned something as well too. We're now in a space where people are making money and they're having fun regardless. So you talk about a ball, and they're like, you talking about that shady stuff that they do. So you just have to figure out ways, and one of the ways is just sometimes is doing the oh gosh, you're hitting the streets, you're hitting the floor. You have to go into these spaces where other people are and just let them know, like, hey, there's something else going on here, or hey, I think you'll be great to do this, or this is great, or maybe just as a country having a function, you create these categories and you guys do some outreach to make sure you bring folks in by making them, letting them know it's okay. So it can get into creative spaces by, you ate that by saying, hey, y'all can get it for free, we have a category for you, you can make some extra coins. Or you go around and do outreach to communicate with folks.
Yeah. Like probably some categories like, just like what you mentioned, like lip sync or like, I don't know, to work it out. Like something that's easy for anyone to just come, like first try it out in Ballroom, and then like once they're here, then they can really feel what's Ballroom. Yeah, probably, yeah, that's a good way, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so also for JUJU in Korea, as per my understanding, there is like quite high number of cis women in the space, right? So how do you see this phenomenon in the Korean scene?
I feel it's okay and it's really good to see like a lot of cis women join the ballroom. But they have to know the history and what's this place for.
Yeah.
So if they know that, and I'm really big welcoming them. But not by that. Yeah.
And do you have like close relationship with some of the cis women in the scene? And like, do you think it is important to have cis women in Ballroom?
Yeah, I'm really close with all cis women in Ballroom in Korea because you know, like I love to have a chat with them and talk with them. So every single ball in break time, I go with them and like, how are you?
Like, do you think it's important to have cis women in Ballroom?
Yeah, because they support us and they rescue us. Yeah, so
yeah,
it's really important to have all.
like really a sisterhood.
Yeah,
to
sisterhood. Yes.
Thank you. And yeah, how about Chise? How do you see the role as a cis woman leader in Ballroom? And do you have any advice that can help other cis women leaders in navigating the space?
Saying that we need to share history all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really hard because I grew up in the New York scene. So it's for them. For the principal was really
But she was so right.
Yeah, but yes. But yeah, first of all, was changing, but like now everybody was really welcome to me because I keep going, trying to catch them, like even though like smiling and I think it was really weird for them, but I tried because I just really wanted to know what is a ballroom and what they doing underground. Like we only could see on YouTube just for these videos, but I didn't understand anything, so I just wanted to talk with them. That's why. And then new generation people just not learn from them. They learn from me or the other cis women. Because they really get the work easy, like a teaching, get the events or like a judges. Even they don't have a ballroom history for their life. But okay, yes. So that's kind of, but it's okay. So for me, I'm keep telling that what New York history was this and the Europe history history now on after 2015. They really grew up like this. I keep talking, and the agency is we started from like JUJU explained it. That's why we started from dancing. But now on, I really wanna go back to the way ballroom was.
Yes.
So I try to do it just again. I'm at the bridge as a system. Yes.
Anything to add?
I would say, you know, in our community, all genders have their own specific things. Specifically, it's hard to do that in countries where sometimes you don't even have trans women who are interested in the community. So, and it's heavy on cis women, or of course, the boys are always going to be there.
Yes, that's
But
true.
I was having this conversation earlier, even like, you know, I know we hear about the history of where ballroom derived from, trans experience, definitely from, you know, Black and Latino trans experience. Number one, if we go back even to those times, even before I started walking ballroom, there was cisgender women supporting and being in the spaces as well too. And it was, I guess it's a difficult conversation to have. It was a difficult conversation to have then because we didn't know where we were going with it. But now today, you know, I find myself running as I travel to, you know, either see where ballroom is to help out, or either go in and be like, okay, this is what's happening. You know, it's a handful of cisgender women because, you know, again, we're in a space where how do we educate, or how do we get to those, like we're talking right now, how do we get our trans women involved no matter where you are, because it's a trans comfortable space. And this is a all comfortable space because it involves everyone, but like cis women were a #1 support in this community as well too, as us even growing to where it was. I'm not sure if anybody does know this, but even years ago, and they don't do it no more, but there used to be an all women scene. There used to be a scene just for women, and they included trans men and they had probably 1 or 2 categories for butchering the trans girls, but like we can get so creative that you can have the world of your own. Now again, things shifted, and you know, again, cis women play such a big support in our space because you know they were really one of our #1 supporters, definitely with us coming out there, being us and who we are from our community. So I guess when it comes to cis women, you know, just if you want to come inside, do what you got to do, know your category, know how you can approach it. If you want to immerse yourself in the community, just immerse yourself. I know you hear a lot about New York City. Yes, it's active, but now we're and Chise mentioned this so good because, like, you know, even when I started traveling, you had specific names of people like Javier, Danielle, myself, Leonie, Stan, you know, Jamal, and a couple of us who were traveling around the world, and you have an opportunity to get us. But now, when we first traveled, this is how we got to know the Chises and everybody else, and you know, we're not here every day. And majority of the time of us traveling, we were being traveled by cisgender women. So it's just about how we make these changes now, you know, from a legend standpoint. You know, now Chise can give you her experience of her being immersed in like a New York City. And I'm sure Chise can tell you how she experienced the good stuff and the shady stuff just by being a cisgender woman. But like she said earlier, that when you are consistent and you keep going back, and when you're well, she says friggin' amazing. If you know you're amazing too, keep going. Don't stop. And go for it. You'll be cool.
Oh, we love that. So ballroom has been a binary culture, and how do you see the introduction of the GNC categories? So GNC stands for gender non-conforming. Yeah. So Dashaun.
It's still something new even for New York City. Now, New York has, and you know, again, America is ballroom, but New York City, again, we get to the Mecca, and it's heavy with so many folks of different cultures, lifestyles, and everything. That's why we used to say, we don't mind if, you know, you're outside of our own culture, but you gotta know your category, know what you do. I guess it just grew. What's the question again? Because I'm gonna lean
Yes,
off.
how do you see the introduction of the GNC?
GNC is very difficult right now. So what I was saying was, in America, we're still trying to have an understanding about the gender non-conforming or how do we have the categories, because we've had folks who identify or as non-binary or GNC who are ballroom. Some of them do got face, some of them do have runway walks, but they do not identify as a gender that's being expressed for the ones that we have presented. So what we do as a culture is we get creative so we can include everyone. So now we do have GNC categories. Now it can be sometimes difficult for someone to understand what GNC is, but it's still a difficult conversation still back in America about GNC and having like a GNC realness, because there's a GNC realness, but how can a GNC be real, right?
Right.
I know, right? I'm the same way. I'm like, wait, but there's a space for it. So we have to, and that's, like you said, that's so well, JUJU, as far as there's always a space to learn. So we have to also teach ourselves and also learn in a space from those who are saying, I want to participate. Your categories that you have doesn't fit me, so how do we do this? So it's still a difficult conversation, but it's happening. Like currently I live in Los Angeles, but I still go back and forth to New York City.
Yeah.
New York City is still big on the GNC over Los Angeles, although they still have it, but not as much. So again, it's how do you include the GNC? Having a conversation and understanding what it is to respect someone who identifies or who have identity of where they stand. So again, it's still difficult now to this day because we're still trying to understand what it is to create these categories and have an understanding to how a GNC can walk realness. And then how can they walk face? How can they walk runway? And once we do create that, which we have, and there's categories for GNC out there, then we are able to figure out how that can be expanded and how that can work, because our GNC in America could be so different from GNC out here in Hong Kong, So you have to understand what's going on in their world, in their space, so it can be included for inclusion. Oh, she's the
How about JUJU or Chise? Anything you want to share?
How can we judge it for them? Then why you said okay to judge?
Yeah.
When you said it at the
That's
top.
true.
So still.
So while we're still figuring out, what's the best way to include GNC categories or how to judge, do you have any advice for the organizers if they really want to have to include the GNC categories, because this is I think what's happening right now in ballroom community, ballroom is evolving, and if you all agree that ballroom should evolve with the changes in the ballroom community, then do you have any advice for us?
My advice, I would say, and this is coming from a standpoint that for right now, I feel like each area in the Asian culture should at least have a base to where everyone can come together and have the talks and conversation. So, and then that way, if Korea has a base, if Japan has a base, if, I don't know, Shanghai has a place, someone in Thailand have a place, and if each and every space speaks to their community, like we're talking right now, you have to reach into your community and figure out what's going on. So that way, when we come together as a whole as an Asian culture, we can oh my gosh, I'm a Kowloon boy. But I'm real MK, but we'll talk about that later. And I was just having this conversation with one about that each space and country have to create kind of this board or this alliance to have these conversations. So maybe all the leaders of different, maybe kiki houses or maybe mainstream houses come together. And if y'all was to say all together in a meeting, like they want to have GNC categories, and you have the discussion to create it, so when the next ball that happens, it can happen and it can be included. So usually if people come together in their alliances, so if Korea got an alliance and they come together and they can create it, or whether it's Japan have an alliance or Hong Kong, and even if y'all come together as a whole, how do you create that? So I believe one of the examples that can help is going to the alliance in your region and getting all the leaders together and figuring out how you can create this, because I may have somebody in my house as I'm at this meeting who can eat the category up, and I'm like, I'm creating for that person, because I know that person is gonna walk so good, and they're gonna, someone who's gonna be in the audience watching, they're like, oh my God, I love that, that's what I wanna do, that's me, da, da, da. So it's about creating that space, and it starts with your core of your community.
That's so well said. Thank you, Icon. And do you have any advice for the GNC walkers if there is no GNC cats in the bowl at all?
It's difficult. The best thing you can do is just, it's difficult because we're still having this conversation about like GNC and trans, and some people don't understand the difference between the both. Some people think they're the same. So it's about having that conversation about separation and understanding about like who identifies as what and what their categories are. So again, my advice is to again, bring your GNCs, your non-binary folks together, or have a meet with everyone and see where their mind is, see where they're at, and see how you can see what they're missing or hear what they're saying, so you can bridge that gap in between. So it can all feel natural, so it's not just like GNC coming on red and they don't know what they're doing, So again, it's best to communicate with those who are around and bring them all together and have that conversation.
Yes, the communication is the key.
Communication key, honey.
Yeah. Okay, here is actually my last question. Yeah, but I mean, we still have some time left for the floor later, but my last question is, ballroom can be political and dramatic. Sometimes, some people, they are maybe more quiet or unaggressive. We have different personalities of people in the scene. They may feel overwhelmed or like confused sometimes in the space. And like, do you have any advice for them? Yeah. Or you?
Actually, I'm a really quiet person. For me. but my clips can look like dramatic, but in my real life, I'm really quiet person, and I really focus on my life, like what's my plan, what's my future, what's my vision. So I recommend you just focus on yourself. Yeah. Put speaking loud, no shade, but I feel like it's spreading your energy. Your energy is so precious. Why do you spread it out for others? Just focus on yourself. Yeah.
I love that.
What was that question again?
Are you sure you want me to repeat it?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so ballroom can be political and dramatic. Sometimes people who are more quiet or unaggressive in the scene, they may feel overwhelmed or confused. So what would you advise to them?
Ooh, I guess that is difficult because I can tell you back at home, I can't advise someone not to be shady. I can't advise someone to be shady. I guess because, right now, definitely for when Ballroom starts off in a space where it's new, you get the good stuff. But when you start to get the numbers of the folks, that's when different personalities come in, different egos come in, different I may feel like, me and Chise watch someone do the same thing, but Chise must be like, oh, I love it. I'm like, child, that was so crazy. So it's like because of of where we're growing and where it's coming to, like it's gonna get political. You're gonna have half the room that's gonna agree, half the room that's not gonna agree. You're gonna have maybe one person who will agree, everybody else doesn't. So how do you maintain these conversations? I can't tell anybody how to be shady or how not to be shady or how to receive shade, or what do you do when they're being shady to you? What I try for myself, I guess I was having this conversation with just with everyone yesterday, and I was asked, "Are you an introvert?" And I'm like, or extrovert, and I told people I was an ambivert, and I'm an in-between with a mix of both, and hopefully I experienced that from me yesterday because I tapped out because my battery needs to be recharged because I'm such an extrovert. So I'm here, and I will talk to you like we've been talking for the past 10 years. But I do need to pull myself back to understand and take a breather because, I mean, I myself, because I'm in this very popular space, I also have to, take myself back to understand what's happening in front of me. So again, it's real interesting. I myself, again, I like to recharge my battery, and I like to put that battery in my back and go. So, but then again, it's just about, because of all the politics and stuff that goes on, I will always tell you this because I myself have been shaded quite a few times. And I'm come from an American standpoint. I'm sure you experienced that as well too. And if you ever was to come to America, don't think it's just gonna come easy, honey. But at the same time, you have to figure out who you are as a person, what you allow to affect you, how you allow it to affect you, and if it does affect you, how you handle it so it doesn't kind of add on to where people are using it against you. And I'm only saying this because I'm a part of a culture where they are on you. Right now we're so nice, you guys don't care about what am I doing after this, maybe, but not too much. But if we go back to America, they're like, girl, I know where you're going after this, honey. Yeah, Dashaun, girl. We know, so it's sort of like this politics and all that other stuff is gonna be involved. So it really depends on you as a person, how you handle it, how you cover it, what you're gonna do for yourself, how do you recharge, how do you deal with shade? Because I can deal with shade, but can you? So it's always about how you are putting yourself and what are you applying to yourself so you don't get hurt in the long run, but you also understand what's happening.
I want to say some good.
Anything to add? She's like, no. Okay.
It's good.
Too good.
Yeah, too good.
Too good. Okay, so thank you, three of you. So honored to have you three to, I'm sure we've learned a lot from, just the past 1 hour. So I guess we still have roughly, actually half an hour, or like around that 20 minutes to half an hour, I'll say, because we actually started a little bit late today. So we're gonna open to the floor. Okay. Anyone wanna get the first question? Anyone? Okay, Benja, Savage. Let's go.
Hi, thank you for coming. I kind of want to know, so Ballroom started in the 80s where culturally and the setting of the society is very different from now already. How does Ballroom go with the woke culture? Because woke culture is like, like the values are already changing, like gender, so you don't want to care about it anymore. Or like about beauty standards, that maybe everyone should be beauty, and body size, body shape. Also, like there are many, like we probably don't want to decide what's beautiful, what's not anymore. So, but Ballroom seems to be still, deciding on these things. So, how does Ballroom go with this culture, like when the society is advancing, and if there's a risk when Ballroom might be outdated with the world's culture advancing?
I don't need a microphone. I can do it without a mic, but.
I will say this, that it's gonna be difficult in general. Again, coming from a space of Ballroom before it was public, where we were underground and we used to share flyers like on a low. It's kind of weird because we've already kind of been woke inside the community before it was actually expansive. So we were already supporting our trans girls, we always were supporting our cis women, we were supporting our gay men, we were supporting our drag queens, supporting our trans men, and also our studs, butchers, and all that other jazz. So I guess it's so interesting because I'm not sure if it's happening much here, which I heard something recently, but trans is a big conversation all over the world right now. But we've had trans girl in our community for so many years. And even again, you come to New York, and I'm just using that as an example, I've been immersed around trans girls for so much, I just sometimes forget that there's a difference between trans and cis women, because regardless of anything, they're my girls, they're my women, I'm supporting them regardless of anything. So I said that to say because even when we were underground, we were still supporting our trans girls. Now to where they're having issues about trans everything in conversations today, it's like we were already aware of it. And one thing that we do in our community, we break the norm. So even with this, I know it may be difficult in times, but you have to figure out ways to break the norm, and that's what we do. We break the norm, and that's how we are able to open up categories like G and C, because although we don't know, we have to break the norm of it. So I get what you're saying. Like now today, there were categories that I know that don't exist right now today that will probably still be good, but it's dated. It's really dated. But I know those categories help us to become what we are today, and some of those categories can't even exist today because of how woke the culture is today. And it could be an issue or not, but that's why the ballroom is, they think we're so shady because what we say is like, girl, you're a femme queen, that's the category. Girl, you're a drag queen, that's that. Boy, you're a butch queen, okay? Or if you identify something else, okay, well we got G and C. So now we got specific genders for you just in case. But if you come to us with something we don't know, that's why I feel like we've been woke in the community already. But as the stuff comes, like for example, now the world is talking about trans folks, but we've been knowing about trans folks for many years. And again, in our world, our culture, the trans girls have been using the same bathroom that the cis girls were using, and they were sitting inside the bathroom, sharing makeup tips and doing everything like that. So it's just really up to the community, even outside of it, because I've heard just recently that 3 balls were canceled in the Asian community because of certain things and rules that was happening. And it kind of sucks, but I know what that experience is like, because back in America, before ballroom became this big popular thing, when we used to leave out of the balls at 5 o'clock in the morning, on a Saturday going to a Sunday, and Sunday is church. So we're passing the Christians, and they're like, what the hell? Yeah, they were saying, what the hell? Who is that? What is this? So it takes for the community to come together to figure out what can work so the respect can be given. And I think right now what has occurred, which I've been excited before, because I'm able now to leave outside of New York City or America to come here and talk to you guys. And that had to come with some type of pushback, some type of step through, or some type of step on or step up, or some type of education I need to either receive or give. And now we're able to travel the world and see things. And now you guys are able to come to us and come to the function. So it really depends on how the community and what the culture is going to do so we can pass by these things. Because for 3 balls in this community to be stricken because of what the government rules are going on, it's damn, what do we got to do now? Because the best thing that, which sucks, because me back at home, I don't have to leave New York City to do that. But some folks have to go outside their own city to experience something that they, that means so much to them, or maybe they can communicate better. So it just really takes the community, and let's just say I'm speaking right now for here in Hong Kong, it takes for the ballroom community here to come together to figure out what it is that's going to make things work, no matter how woke or unwoke someone is. Because I'm hearing they're real conservative here. So if they're conservative, it's sort of like, well, child, sometimes you gotta meet the conservatives. Have a category for conservatives. You never know. But it comes with fear. So it's hard work, but it's up to the community to do it.
Any questions?
Hello, my name is Akama. Really? Okay, thank you for the sharing. Actually, because I'm a friend of Milk. And that's why I'm here today. And I'm a hip hop dancer. And yeah, so I really a bit nervous because yeah, but I really feel the inclusive vibe here. And kids, I have a full-time job. I work in an NGO charity, so I often go to secondary school, talk about anti-bullying and mental health, and that's why I would like to ask kids. I know some people are not that resourceful. They are poor, and because of their upbringing, they have limited knowledge. That's why maybe sometimes they will be not that inclusive and not that patient. Yeah, and I think we need patience to build an inclusive community. And my question is how normal, ordinary people can help to build such inclusive community in the society. Yeah, like in Hong Kong, many people suffer from mental health issue. Yeah, but I feel like building a community is one of the methods to resolve the mental illness thing. Yeah, but at the same time, I know like drugs and that kind of substance, it's helpful for some people. Yeah, but that kind of things for some normal people is a bit abnormal. Yeah. So sometimes kids are living in this culture, but at the same time, I went to secondary school, like that typical ordinary school. Yeah. So sometimes I feel like I'm swinging, and I feel like the people living in Hong Kong also swinging, and maybe people around the world, we're swinging because it's postmodern and postmodern. Yeah. So yeah, sorry I talked a lot, but
okay.
yeah. How do you feel the vibe of or the things we're facing as a human being?
Yeah, no, I can't answer that if y'all want.
Okay, I can answer it for you. And again, if you've been to America, you can know this, and I'm sure they can agree with this. Mental health in America is big for Ballroom. You mentioned two things that were so big. You said mental health and drugs. And another thing, some people don't have the financial resources. And it's so interesting, if you go to New York City, some of the most popular folks ain't got nowhere to live. Some of the most celebrated people on the ballroom floor have the most problematic issues in their own personal lives. And it's so interesting that that when they have an opportunity to come into the community, it's sort of like they forget about it because they got folks talking about how much they love them, or someone's coming up to me talking about, I watched your clip or whatsoever. But I myself had the opportunity to see so many folks that I even know still to this day who still remains in the same situation because of their own personal mental health. And we're part of a community where we go through things back at home that others may not know about us personally, And when we come in front of others, is either you're going to experience it, but it triggers out or it slips out, or maybe that's just how the person is. But this community is a space for people to let go of what's going on. I will also say this, not saying that every culture experiences this, but I know a lot of folks in America use ballroom as a kind of a clutch for them to pass by what they experience every day. Meaning like the bullying, the judging, the fighting, although it still happens in our community. It's just that it's so interesting that when you walk into it as it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be celebrated. But I say in America, you're celebrated for that 15 minutes that you do good on that floor, but you have to be very mindful about even when you step outside of it, because like I said earlier, when ballroom grows, you get so many different folks and cultures and experiences and people and egos and all that other jazz. And mental health is a big thing. This is why sometimes fights break out with us. I'll also say this, that like from American culture, we use the ballroom to get past that, and some folks hasn't been through struggle like we have. And we haven't been through the struggle like you have. So our approach to getting this, maybe I'm walking this ball to get that $1,000 because I ain't got it back at home. So maybe that's my thing. Some people in other spaces are just walking the ball and it's $1,000. They're like, well, I'm not ready for it, not to do it. Or some folks don't have the background like myself and others in America do, that's come from struggle. We use this in order to do it. Some people use this as a gateway to get away from maybe the dance style that they're doing, or maybe, my family thought it was great because we can talk now to say, well, child, you should go try voguing. It can work. But again, a lot of people, and I can say from experience of back at home, is that we utilize this to get away from our mental health. And even after the ball's over, some people go back to that mental health and you may not even know. So I in the interim, I can say that there are spaces back at home where I'm from that we can go to figure out how we deal with the mental health situation, like nonprofit organizations and drop-in centers like GMHC or all these other places that may work out. Or you create it here, because I'm not sure what's going on with the culture in the community here, but if there is mental health things that's happening that's going on, this is why we have the nonprofit organizations that we can go to so they can supply us with the information, the knowledge, and the tools so we can continue to live our happily LGBTQIA lives type situation. So again, it's up to the community. Although y'all coming together to have a ball, you may have that meeting, and at the meeting, I may be sitting at the meeting like this the whole time. And y'all like, Dashaun, what's wrong? But I got my own personal thing, but I know this, I'm sitting here for a reason, because I know my escape will be here when it's time to. But if we don't have the resources to make sure we're okay, even for our trans girls, like some girls don't have information about what they do to take care of their body, their medical health, even get medication, or either the medication they need for their transition. So it's just about making sure that we go to these organizations or the people that we know here. You have a space that you can utilize your resource to help what you love or what the extracurricular activity you do to help it expand. It works out. For example, myself, when I was younger, I used to work for these nonprofit organizations, and it used to get me into balls for free. So that was my escape because I didn't have the money for it. So in order for me to get to that ball for free, I was handing all of y'all condoms. I written it down on my paper. I handed it to my boss, and I was in the ball, and I was able to walk, and I was winning my category, and I was winning cash. So, and I didn't have the resources. So if you have that organization or you have that place, or if you are the person who knows or have the information to help out to give, it can help.
I want to ask, because they both mentioned about the situation nowadays with society and the world outside, and also the real life problem. So I want to ask, because, for example, especially actually for the realness category, it's hard to explain to people, and also for the gender, what we call in ballroom, for example, butch queen and femme queen. How can I explain to them
properly and politely, and also let them feel comfortable. For example, like my friend, like she's a femme queen, and how can I explain that it is offensive to tell them you should walk femme queen and not woman?
Sure you want to take it?
Well, I guess what you're saying is like, because some people don't understand the knowledge or the information, and usually it used to happen through word of mouth, but we're now in technology to where you can type something in. But I will always say it is up to the community for itself. So that's a good question. So that what hopefully, if everyone comes together, is to create a verbiage that is understandable for everyone here, and then understandable for people who don't know, who's looking at this like, what the hell is this? Like they may see, and I'm gonna get to your question too, they may see a trans girl but may not know what a trans girl is. They may see a drag, may not know what a drag is. Or some people may see a drag queen and be like, well, sure, I could do that too, but they're not drags, they're a whole cisgender woman. But what I mean about that is it takes for understanding of for the community to educate those either when they are looking in or coming into the space. So if Hong Kong as a ballroom culture can come and create, and not even create because it's already out there, but how do you bridge that gap of conversation of how do we express what a cisgender woman is, what a trans girl is, how do we identify what that is, and if you go to a ball, you're not getting a cisgender woman walking a trans category, or got a trans woman walking a cisgender category when there's specific gender specifics for everyone in the ballroom culture. So it's up to the community to come together again. And we already have something that's out there if you type it in, but I know what you're saying, because my average friend every day is not gonna look up, oh, what's the ballroom scene, you know? So it's up to you. Sometimes you can hand them a little paper and be like, oh, you wanna know? Here you go, read that. Or if you don't know, go to our, Hong Kong Ballroom website, and you can find out everything about who's competing, who's participating, if that's what y'all want to create. It's kind of like beating them where they are so you can educate them. And it's hard to educate a lot of people who don't have understanding of what they know. So you just have to put it into like common sense, or if it doesn't work, run away. It's not your job to let people know, because if they're open enough to want to know and be there, they'll do it. And if they don't.
You want to say something?
Did I answer your question? Is that okay?
Hi, this is Toby. So shout out to the House of Sense Survey for hosting a very meaningful event and ball. And my question is about transgender people in ballroom scene, because in Hong Kong we don't have many transgender people in the ballroom. Sometimes I always hear people shout, we need more femme queens, we need more transgender. It's like that, we need them more than they need us. You know what I mean? So I couldn't help but wonder, for example, because there are more transgender people walking the ball in China, and they are very conscious about their realness category, because they feel like they need to be, identified as the gender they want to be. So for the sisterhood judge panel, they always give them 10s. But when we have a trans girl from the States come to the scene, they got chopped from the femme queens. So they feel their destructive vibe for not being recognized as a transgender people in ballroom scene, because they used to have the 10s from their friends. So I guess this is one of an obstacles for how the leaders should guide the transgender people, because I'm a cis gay man. I don't know how to guide them to walk the realness category with a more open mind to accept the chop. And the second thing is for writing on CH Chaka's question. trans people, like trans women, in the ordinary, how to say, like the layman, not ballroom people, they want to be recognized as women because trans women are women. So when we categorize them into femme queens, they somehow feel like they're putting into a non-woman gender stereotyping. So I have two questions. Like one is, should we promote like junior realness, or should we ask the non-past people to walk some, for example, drag realness or something? Or how to explain like why we categorize femme queen out of woman? So 2 questions. Thank you.
Anybody want to say something before I go? Okay, what did you hear? No, go for it. I've been talking.
Y'all gonna hear from JUJU. She wanted to think about her stuff. I will say this. There's 2 things to answer your first question.
Yeah.
It's as a whole, because your first question is about like how do we get more trans girls involved? If I'm correct. It can be quite difficult, but it's up to the community to create the open space. How? I don't know. If you want a couple of pointers and examples, I'll be like, she said it earlier, make it free. And make sure everybody here find a trans girl that they can find and be like, girl, they got an easy category, you ain't even gotta dress up, just come as you are, and you'll be okay. So it's just about creating this space and how, I know even sometimes we're like, well, how do we do this? It really depends on you when it starts with you. And the smallest thing can end up so big. So it's up to your creativity, not just telling them, hey, you gotta come, but if you're creative and allowing them to come so they can kind of stay and always be around, that can help. Does that answer your question? The first one.
The first one is more about like how do we like uphold the standard of realness, but at the same time like make them more acceptable in the ballroom scene when walking realness.
Well, see, and that ties into your second question, which I'm going to answer, but like the first one was how to tie it to realness. It really just depends on what this community here identifies as being realness. So it's an interesting game to play, because you mentioned something a little bit earlier as well too, because not all trans girls want to be identified as femme queens. This is where it takes for the education of the ballroom culture, because our trans women are femme queens, and that's how we gender identify our trans girls as being femme queens. Now, you did mention something that pops up because we did one time in our ballroom experience have a trans girl walk a woman category, and you can't tell her she's not. You cannot. You cannot. No, it was in New York. It is many years ago. It was a category. She was a post-op trans girl who walked a woman's category. She's like, you can't tell me I'm not. But I would say even within that experience, years ago there was a category created for, and this is like really even before social media time like that there was a category for new women, and new women was the post-op girls who already got the surgery and all that jazz. So you're not identifying them as being femme queens or trans because they already have the surgery. They don't have anything. So they used to have this category, but back then there weren't so many girls who were experiencing that. It can make sense a little bit now to where you have the new women category. Some you have some girls who probably just started transitioning, and some girls who've been doing this for so many years doesn't feel the same way like this girl who just started. But in our community, in our culture, we identify our women as our trans girls as femme queens. We identify cis women as women. We identify trans men are trans men. We have stud categories, a butch category. That's sort of like the drag queens for the boys a little bit, but not really. But everything has its own kind of specifics. We have our butch queen categories, we have our drag categories. But it's, again, not taken away from anything from this trans woman, or not taking anything away from her being a woman, because this may sometimes for some trans girls' personal experience, it may take away who they identify if they decide to participate in ballroom, because now it's exposing them to being trans when they're out there and no one ever knew that they were living the life that they were living today. So it's education is one thing about letting them know that in our community, our culture, this is not taking anything away from who you are as a person. We're just really identifying and breaking down the categories so everyone can get a fair chance. And it may suck because we have that experience, but that's where conversation. And I said that one more thing, and I'm gonna let it go. But the realness conversation is still difficult. I mean, it became a difficult conversation now in America because again, if I got a panel of judges and I've been living my life every day for the past 20 years as, you know, as this unquestionable woman that you never know, but then I come here in the ballroom scene and you chop me? Excuse me? And why should I be judged? Like, there's all types of forms of women out there. There's all types of forms of men out there. So we can't just like specifically identify one person as just being where they are. So I know that conversation can be different because it's difficult in America right now about trans girl realness because, you know, who are you to say I'm not real? I am real. I've been living this every day. Just because a category says doesn't mean it is. So again, education with the community about making sure that people who are participating know, because we also have some very beautiful, beautiful, beautiful trans women walking categories, so we would just never know if you walked outside. But it's up to you to educate them so they feel comfortable enough to know that we're not taking anything away from them, we're not stripping you down, we're not doing anything, and we just want to make sure that, again, when it comes to you participating, here's what you got, here's what you got. Because there's another girl who did the same thing you did, and I think you could be her child, no Sade. It's like that type of interaction you have to give so everyone can feel cool. But at the same time, like I said earlier, if it don't apply, let it fly. If it don't work, you can't force a girl to say, well, you have to be a pinpoint or you have to identify as this. That doesn't work. But just for educational purposes, when it comes to our community, is how we identify our gender norms, even to a point that we have a GMC. So if you don't identify as nothing, we still got a category for you to walk. You know? I'm sorry.
I have a question. So yeah, I'm Madison Savage. Yeah, I'm so good to see JUJU, Dashaun, and Chise in here. So I have a few questions. Like I want to ask Dashaun. Just as I knew you, you are to Kiki scene and major scene as father. So what qualities do you think as a father should have? And my second question is, what difficulties do you face when you're in the both scene, and how did you deal with all of the difficulties? Yeah.
I'm gonna answer the first question, how to be a better, you said a better father, or? Oh, the qualities, yes, the qualities of parents to have. The qualities of parents should have. I mean, every parent is different. No parent from any house is the same. You know, I know me and Omari may have the same kind of voice, but Omari or Richie, Braxton's house is much different than Dashaun Basquiat. I think the qualities that I would say that you should have as a leader in general is knowing when to listen and knowing when to do and react. Like, I know a lot of times you may run into a leader whose qualities is just telling you what to do. And I don't care what you got. No, go get dressed. No, put this on. No, go do that. You know, some people like that. So I will always say, you know, as a leader, one thing that I do the most is like I like to listen and see what I got in front of me. Then you're gonna hear what's going on. Immediately, if I have a vibe that I know that I feel from you, I'll go from there. But I also say this, as a leader, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to guide you so you can be the best you are. And then the second question was the
difficulties
between both scenes. Okay, the difficulty that I face between both scenes. Well, what I'm experiencing right now as an overall father of my house is that Right now, the Kiki scene is like here. The mainstream is here. And I say that because the mainstream is so strict about what you got to do with your categories. The Kiki scene, child, as long as you're catching the beat, or sometimes you gotta catch the beat, you just gotta feel that you know what you're doing and you'll be good. And I think one scene is more open and more supportive of you. Just, if you know how to do it, just go ahead. Compared to one thing is like, if your shoe is untied, bitch, I'm gonna chop you. So it's hard to navigate between the two because I can't tell the people in the Kiki scene the same thing I tell my mainstream house. Because it just doesn't eat the same. You know, if it makes sense. I can say, and it makes sense, but honestly, you know, in the Kiki scene, there's a little bit more freedom that you have, and which makes it difficult for me as being overall father in the mainstream scene, is that like I have a whole bunch of members in my house who are in the Kiki scene, and baby, they love the Kiki scene. And it's real difficult to try to get them over to walk a mainstream ball because mainstream is so tough. So if that's one of those little things I experienced, that's one of them. But it really depends on how you are as a leader to make sure that they're okay when they do Kiki scene. But when they come over to mainstream, that they're not intimidated enough to where they feel they're not going to participate.
And do you have any difficulties just as a father of the houses, like that you face?
I mean, I experience a lot of things as an overall father. I wish I could sit here and tell you, but then I'll be telling all the girls out there my too. But what I mean about that, yeah, I know. I mean, we go through a lot of stuff. I mean, as running my own mainstream house, you know, you go through things when it comes to recruitment, when it comes to walking, participation, traveling, everything when it comes to ballroom. So it just, as me as a leader, when these difficult things come up, I like that. I like difficulty. I like a challenge, because if it was easy, what type of fun am I having? So I guess it's some of the difficulties, or all the difficulties I experience is also educating for me, because again, I'm still in a learning space, because now I have to learn how to communicate with my group of cisgender women, or my group of trans girls, and how much they love this but don't like that, and I have to learn how to understand what's happening in front of me before I can even make a decision as a leader. So I find that very fun for me, because if something comes my way, and for everyone who's experienced me so far, I like to be like, wait, hold up one second. All right, girl, let me tell you. Again, it's going to be difficult, number one, to be a part of any scene regardless, because although the Kiki scene is so good, it's still some difficulties in there. So it's still hard, but it really depends on you and how you are as a leader, and who you also have there that's going to support your leadership as you're leading.
Yes, you
Do you
are.
have any share, or do you as a leader as well? Anything you want to share?
Go ahead, mother.
You want to share the tea?
First of all, I really rejected. I don't know. How can I say? I don't know.
Oh, you didn't want to. Oh, you.
I just be a
you
Christian.
rejected. You rejected it.
But even European, now European ninjas like mostly gone, but like European, American, all the Asian people just say, why you're not mother? But because I told you, like, bridge. I saw to just go travel, everyone to fight and sing the ballroom. What is the ballroom do this country? So that's why they just want me to be a mother. But like, to the time I was not feeling I want to be a mother. But when I become mother, I feeling, so much work.
So much work. I know.
And still I need to talk with the international meeting, all the districts, the other country district. I'm like, but still, I'm giving like, make sure that look up the kids and what your life is okay, not ballroom. Before ballroom, are your life is okay? And if your life is okay, more, let's help her in the more ballroom. But like, I like same, like you're talking about the mental health, something problem. I don't want to bring to the ballroom. if my kids, like other mother positions, and that's why to my kids, just suffering for the life. So I told them, don't come to the ballroom. It's okay, just fix everything and then come back. So me still in the between at the ballroom, just come to the ballroom, bring the kids, everything, but still I'm care about behind their life. So I'm really this, but I'm really talk with them.
Ever since I started Vogue in 2017, my biggest goal is to be a mother. I really wanted to be a mother. And finally, it's been 1 year and 6 months almost in being house of Mulan. And like finally I got a chance to bring my kids to my house. So I'm kind of monster mother. Baby, do this, baby, do that. Like, no. I always meant like what to do, but from that process, like I realized that mother is not perfect. Older leader is not perfect, mother is not perfect, and it's my first time being a mother, so also kids have to understand that mother is not perfect, and for that experience, I really learned a lot from the kids that I can make a mistake. So it made me being more humble. Like as you said, like I try to listen more and not to talk before when they want me to help. Just if they need help, and now I talk. Yeah. So mother is hard.
I hope I can get to a point that I can feel like icon, like having fun, like being a parent. So it's sometimes I feel like you know, yeah. So I can feel yeah.
I would also say like sometimes you become a leader and you don't even know you become a leader. Like sometimes your action of you participating could just make you seem like you hold so much because of the energy you put out there on the floor. So people just come to you because that's just what it is. It is in this community, the more you participate in the floor, the more you become that bigger entity, you start to be visualized in such a way that you don't even understand. So even sometimes, like they say, they're like, well, why are you not mother? She's like, well, no, I'm participating. I'm walking. I'm a girl. Why do you want to see nothing like that? You know, it sometimes naturally happens, and sometimes it happens so naturally that you have no choice but to learn the shit.
Okay. Prince said that we can have the last question.
I need one last question.
One last question.
Anyone will
Okay.
ask, yeah.
Anyone. Last question. Grab that.
You.
Hello everyone, thanks for sharing. I'm Stefan, and I'm doing oral history research about Vogue in Hong Kong recently, so I interviewed some numbers from house in Hong Kong. So I'm really curious about the process of bringing the perfect key to your home. So how you decided to select the key for your house?
I feel like it's kind of destiny. Yeah. Like once I saw someone, like, oh, that's my baby. I bring them. That's all.
I'm for JUJU. Like honestly, like when I know and I tell people I'm an empath, so the energy is right, I'm there like, and usually people do things different, so me, I like to take my time to know that someone's just coming into my house rather than just being like, oh hey, you got cute black pants. You're a Basquiat. I like your time. You're a Basquiat. And then you come to find out that they are crazy. So But my thing is like, it's destined for me, I also have people part of my house who like to sometimes be like, oh my God, Juju, I got a person who's gonna join the house. Her name is Chise, you should meet her. And then it's like, it really depends on, you know, yourself and how you interact with folks. Because sometimes you can be approached and be like, yes, you're my child, come here. Or sometimes someone that comes to you like, oh my God, can you be my parent? You have to be like, oh, okay, so who are you? What's up? Or you have people who go out there and do the work for you, so you don't have to do it. Like, for example, I'll tell you the things that I do. I like to recruit people sometimes too. I do what you do. Like, oh, you feel like my child. You should be my son. Come here. Or, in general, what I do like to do, I like to take my time to get to know who's around me because, you know, y'all see my energy. Not everybody's for my energy, and sometimes I'm not for everybody's energy too. And sometimes my house members are bringing me folks, and I'm like, oh yeah, no. Honestly, but I won't just say no. I will still give them a space. Like, honestly, I feel like you'll be great to da-da-da, so I'll introduce them to someone else that makes sense. So again, it's also the vision that you have for yourself and your house, or whatever you have with your, so like with you and your friends. If you and your friends got a group of thing going on here, you don't just let an average person come in and be like, it's either your friend is gonna be like, or you're gonna be like, okay, this person, and let's get this out. So it can be fun, it can be hard to find members, it can be also difficult to find members to cover categories that you want. So sometimes you just, it naturally comes to you like, oh my God, I've been looking for a runway for like 6 years. And you just do whatever it takes. So it really just depends on you and also the people around you. You never know.
Okay, thank you again, Icon. Thank you, Icon Dashaun, our father. Thank you, Juju. I think we've learned a lot, and it really cleared up our clouds, definitely. We're excited to see the ball tomorrow. All right, can I see everyone here tomorrow? Okay, so the ball open at 3 p.m. and we start sharply at 4. All right, so make sure you don't forward time for you. Okay. And workshop, you wanna? Okay, please. No. Workshop time promotion.
Sign up for the workshop.
Please, our workshop, it's like a very valuable chances for you. It's not easy for us to get international leaders to Hong Kong. So please, if you're interested in arms control for JUJU, and then program by Dashaun, and also program by Chise as well. So please, grab the chance. And if you have any friends, get them. And if you have any financial difficulties, just let us know. Reach out to our house page, to our success page. And we really treasure these opportunities. We really want you to have this